back to the Dank Swamp Rebellion. This is the series finale with T-New, Cajun Craftastrophe.
You know, like I said earlier, we look at movies in a different light. When I was watching the new Mortal Kombat movie with all the CGI that was in there were points of it that, even though we do a lot of this stuff now, and we deal with a lot of people that do 3D rendering and things of that nature, it still blows my mind how it's able to be done. Because you're right, back in the day when you had a movie, it was what it was. If even in these movies that are multi-million-dollar productions, you would think with a movie like Jumanji with The Rock, all that money that got put into there, and in one of the opening scenes, you can see a guy with a camera and a viewing monitor that's tucked away in a tree while they're running through the jungle, and it's plain as day. And you would think to yourself, like, well, you know, with all that money, kind of should have caught that. You know,
who let that one pass?
You know, and it's multiple things like that. But then you look at movies like or not movies, but the series, right? Mandalorian, right? How they did that.
Yeah.
And that's
new technology right
that's
there.
new.
Yeah.
You know,
denutritious. that stuff is good.
It's amazing how they do that too, within basically a room that's just full of, you know, paneling.
LEDs, yeah.
It's insane.
And it looks real.
But it's not only that. It's like it's not just like a video screen. It's literally linked to the camera. So as they turn the camera, the perspective of the background, it's linked to a render engine inside of like a gaming engine, right? And then so
it has VR axis on it, so that if they move or the camera goes in any axis, it moves the scene with it.
So many things.
And if anybody's out there listening and thinking, what in the heck are these guys talking about? Well, basically it's just this dome that they film in, and the edges of the dome have LEDs in it, and they can put any background on it. And when you see movies that usually have a green screen that they replace the background with, this is just new technology that they change it. And the benefit of this is what they do is the light that reflects, like let's say the Mandalorian, if you're familiar with that, he's got like a shiny suit. So all that light and background is actually reflecting on that suit, so it makes it feel way more real. Whereas when you're doing that on a green screen, you would have to create all of that. And just like we were saying, that the more real elements that you can get into something, it just makes things feel more organic and feel more real. And when you're trying to actually, like, you know, do a science fiction film, you want that to be real.
I like how you also know that lighting is one of the most important things in a shot, because even with the Mandalorian, as he moves, wherever the sun is at that point, when the camera moves, the sun will move in perspective to where he's at in order to give the right reflection off of his suit.
Right, and that light is actually there because it's coming from the micro LEDs that's in these
which
panels.
is amazing that they thought of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's got to be like this crazy expensive thing too.
I hope so. I hope it costs so much. I really do. I mean, because it's Disney.
What is that? Organically digital? Is that how you would phrase that?
Well, I think it's just they're starting to find the perfect balance of, like, well, what's the strong point of this tool, you know, and like what's the weak point, and like that's art right there. That's the whole thing about art. What is working and what isn't working, right? And like how do you know, a tool that a lot of people don't think about when they do an art. I don't know. Maybe they do, but is your mind, your brain. Like that's a thing. That's one of your tools that you have to learn how to operate. And for me, that's been a long process of trying to learn, like, and also learning that there's a difference between my mind and a difference between my brain. My brain is absolutely insane. Like, he's a lunatic. Like, he thinks the craziest things, you know? But my mind is saying, like, hey, hold on, Captain, let's try to steer this ship. And the more I'm able to pay attention and actually, like, be present, as the kids say, the better things are, because the more focused you are in the moment when you're doing something, the better your art's gonna be, in my opinion. I think.
I agree.
I think if you're thinking about your problems and trying to write a song, that's not gonna work. Anyway.
Right. But I really like too whenever you could talk to someone who's very knowledgeable based on experience rather than schooling, because they arrived at a certain place in their career all through sheer willpower. Besides, I mean, of course it takes that same thing through schooling, but that's a classical way of being trained to do something.
But there's the person that goes through schooling and then gets out of school and doesn't know how to critically think and apply. All right. And then there's the person with raw talent that if they're just taught the right things at the right time, that they can progress from there. Right. So that's where I think people in general, especially kids today, man, like it's different than when we were growing up. There's a lot more. The world is more digital. Right. Then we grew up in an analog world, and now everything's digital. And I think they just need to realize that, yes, it's OK to bleed out everything from your heart into your art, but also understand how to critically think and to do that very thing. Like you said, Tinu, keep your mind in line. And it's okay that your brain wanders, but know when to tap into your mind to tell yourself to bring that back in so that you can stay grounded in what you do. Because we know how easy it is to get way far off in left field and not be anywhere near home plate anymore.
Absolutely. I can tell you one thing, that like when you are working on something and you're trying to like work on your art and you find your mind wandering, if you say like, okay, let me focus back on my art, let me try to be here, and then your mind's gonna wander and you pull it back. Well, every time you do that, that's what I call a pull-up. It's like a little pull-up you're doing. So at first you're not gonna be very good at it, but boy, you're gonna get stronger every day, and then suddenly, man, you can really like focus. And let me tell you something about YouTube and the kids these days. Boy, let me tell you about those kids these days. I am what I call a hopeless optimist. Did I say that right, or did I say the guy from? Is that the name of the guy from Transformers?
Yeah, bro. Hopeless optimist.
Hopeless optimist.
Yeah. That's the. I thought I got that confused, but so what I think is very exciting is YouTube, and that's not because I'm doing a YouTube thing, but check this out, right? So if you're a kid these days, right, and let's say since we all do music, let's say you want to learn to play guitar. Well, in literally 5 minutes, you can figure out what the basic starting point of guitar is, and then you can find someone who's an expert on guitar to teach you guitar for free. Now, this allows these kids anything that they're passionate about to really be able to find out from people who are knowledgeable. Now, and to me, that's a game-changing. I forget what the term is, but like it's a fundamental earth-shaking thing that we don't really see yet. Like, right, it takes a while to see like the repercussions of this, and I think we're really gonna see it in these generations coming up. I think this is gonna really help. Like, a lot of people look at the internet, and the internet has a bad rap, and the internet deserves a bad rap in many ways, but I like to look at the good side of things.
But that's like anything in life, right? So many things and so many cultures, societies, whatever, have put bad stigmas on certain things, but that still doesn't put society or that culture or that background as a whole, okay, into that same group. And that's the same thing we're talking about here with Cajun people and Creole people. Yeah. Is that just because they have the stigma that they're all one way we're showing right here that we're not. So what kids need to understand today is, and what we want you to do is, just like Tyler to get his first guitar, cut grass all summer long in the heat, South Louisiana heat, to buy his first guitar. He was passionate about it, and he figured out a way to get it. Just because you don't have access to something immediately and you don't get instant gratification from it, go out and find a way to get it. Cut grass. Do whatever it is you need to do. Reach out to people. And let me tell you something. 1,000 no's is worth one yes in life. Okay? So if you're told 999 times no in life, just know that 1,000th is coming. All right, sooner or later it's coming, and that's what we've done. And same thing with Tinu. I feel like you've also had that same principle in life, because you didn't just walk into movies, you didn't just walk into audio.
He played with dogs to get into.
Yeah. You know, so you had to pay your dues, right? You had to get to a certain point, and there's that starting point to where you have to go out and seek it. If you're really passionate about something, whether it's art or music or directing, or if you're say you're writing a short film, you know, or you're writing a long form film, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Just make sure that you're doing it with everything that's in you and give everything to it. There's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by those in your community and people around you that are doing positive things.
Kids out there, y'all listen to Mr. Jim, because he's
that's right, from The Office. Jim from The Office.
Because he knows what he's talking about. That was very, very well put, my friend, and that's true. And like one of the things the kids, and I'll get to you in 1 second. The kids these days, one thing they do have to do with the technology, though, put it down.
That's right.
That's exactly where I was going, because you have all this vast amount of information that's available to you at any time. That doesn't mean that you need to access it all at one time, because that can be overwhelming. But it is completely okay that if I don't want to craft anything in my entire life, but I want to enjoy Tinu on YouTube and watch him do it vicariously, please do.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'll watch him, and I can't craft. I can't make a gnome to save my life. Not one. I can't do nothing.
You can't make no babettes or nothing?
Not even a stick figure.
How about
nothing.
a Diddy guy?
I don't, nothing. Nothing.
Come on, bro. Well, look, there's the same thing too with like, I follow a lot of younger guitar players who are like straight up virtuosos already at this point because of the platforms that are in place. It's amazing to see how far someone has taken the guitar, for example, at 20 years old, and just literally pour everything they got into it and get an outlet to learn like you.
Which kind of makes us upset as older cats, because we had to sit there listening to the radio with a cassette, recording the radio in order to play over that so we could learn how to play guitar back in the day.
You 100% correct. Like the fact that these kids are learning from experts right away, and like any idea or question that you have in your head can be instantly accessed, and you can pretty much figure it out. And man, you see people playing like it's crazy.
And it doesn't even have to be an expert. It just has to be somebody that triggers something in you that's a little bit better. So it could be just the run of the mill. You know, I follow this little chick on TikTok on our DSR talks, because she gets so much hate, and I can't understand these people that are doing this, because she's like day 61 of trying to learn Black Sabbath, and she's sitting there and yeah, she's not good yet. But I wasn't always good either, and neither was he. We didn't just very few people sit down in front of something as a prodigy to it. Very, very minute minority of the population actually can do that without putting some type of effort, and also having some raw talent and luck along the way. That also helps in too. But instead of that, I comment sometimes, dude, don't stop. I don't care if it's day 362. Keep going.
I'm happy that you putting that out there.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I did every day after school.
And it's so brave of her to do that.
Absolutely.
And look, man, I've noticed what a lot of, if there's people out there that are very negative, and look, there's a lot of people in this world that are hurting right now, and there's like a million factors that like we could go over, but Tinu prefers not to like really get into politics. But there's a lot of things that in our society are making people feel like they're just little cogs in a machine, right? And they get angry, and I can't blame them for that. But at the same time, we do have to make an effort to say like, hey, look, I'm responsible for myself now, and like, yes, I can get angry about something, but do I want to become an angry person? Like, it's okay to get...
And do you want to feed the anger of the machine, or do you want to defeat it with positivity from within?
And that's correct, sir, because part of the plan, and take that how you will, is to help keep people separated so that you're not worried about like, well, where is this all coming from? I'm just mad at you because you wear a Star Wars shirt and you wear a Wolverine
And
shirt.
you're not wearing a Star Wars shirt.
I'm not.
And it
That's
gets
true.
and that's a very silly example, but it's really not a silly example.
But it's real.
Because it gets that silly when you're dealing with, two sides of different things. And I want people to know that just like that, putting that positivity into something instead of this little girl playing guitar, and instead of saying like, man, you are just terrible. It gets back to what we were saying earlier. It's like, but that's her dream. And she's doing something positive. And that was a little thing, and I don't know if that was on the last podcast or this podcast, but that little thing that you're putting into the world, right? You make something, you put it into the world, and it may, on a technical level, just not be very good. But that one little positive thing that you put in the world is 1,000 times better than these negative, important people that are telling you how to act, what to do, who to be angry with. Don't be angry with people. Or if you want to be angry with people, be angry with the people telling you to be angry with people, because that's the ones that you need to look at.
And now for a little sneak peek of Craft Pod 13, featuring T-New and Daddy.
Did I ever tell you about the time we were at Burger Chef and I don't know what they put in the patty that day? But let's just say it did not agree with me.
Here we go.
So I fast walked to the men's bathroom, and this was a long time ago. They hadn't even invented stalls back then. It's just one toilet. Can I say that?
You can say toilet, but where is this story going? Be cautious.
Tinu, my middle name is Cautious. Like I said, it's just one toilet in the middle of the room, designed by someone with a sick sense of humor or someone who failed design school. I don't know. Anyhow, I thought I locked the door, but this proved to be incorrect because this kid walks in, sees me, and freezes.
I'm actually enjoying this story.
Must have been a mild form of shock.
Undoubtedly.
So, he's staring at me, and I'm staring at him. You ever seen that movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No, but I got a pretty good guess which one you are.
Tinu, don't try to rain on my parade. Where was I?
Stuck on a toilet in a public restroom in a staring contest with a kid.
Right, that's correct. It was a tense moment. So, he's staring at me, I'm staring at him. We're both perspiring. At least I think he was. I know I was. And he just slowly backs out without saying a word. And he leaves the door open.
Oh, that's rich.
Now, for the people out there, I don't know if they've been to this Burger Chef, but the restrooms are in direct line of sight from the front counter. It was lunchtime and the place was packed. So I'm stuck there, and I don't know what's worse, to sit there and pretend nothing's wrong, or to try to get up and close the door. Both choices are equally bad. So picture this.
Nope.
The door swings fully all the way open, and I'm sitting on the throne, and the whole place went silent. It was like someone sucked all the air out the room.
I can only imagine.
I'd probably still be sitting there today if that little girl hadn't screamed. It sort of broke the spell, and I'm not gonna lie, the next few minutes were pandemonium. But the manager of Burger Chef jumps the counter like a track star. It must have been the adrenaline, because judging from this man's body, he's not really what they would call athletic. Anyway, he cleared that counter and slammed that bathroom door shut with a grace that's usually only seen in a nature film.
Is there a moral or even a point to this story?
Yes, you can't be anonymous in a small town. I knew every single person in that line.
Check out Craft Pod 13 on YouTube, streaming now.
We get a lot of negativity that is directed toward our show, and it's the same people week in and week out that say negative things on our shows, and then they're still listening though.
That's the thing.
I'm gonna give those people a digital hug right now.
Right now.
Oh, don't try to squirm away from me, you angry little man. Come here. Just let it go. Just let it happen. It's easier that way.
They're really not gonna like you, man, because you're happy. You know?
Oh yeah, well that's okay.
But that's okay. Sooner or later, all this positivity coming through the airwaves is going to penetrate. There's a little tiny, and it may be a microscopic hole in all that darkness of that person, but it's going to penetrate. It's going to get there.
Well, absolutely, and that's the thing, man. It's like really like that person is it's it's there's a problem. There may be something in their life that, like, we wake up in the morning and there's just a slight pain in my foot, or it's not too bad. This person may wake up in the morning and like, the bills are due and their body hurts and their mind hurts and they're and to anyone out there who is really angry about things, I just want to say, like, if you just start trying to not be as angry, let me tell you that whatever Tinu believes in magic. I believe that the world is magical, and the reason I believe that is because I see it. And I used to be angry. I'm telling you, man, like, life has not just been a bowl of cherries for me. I don't even like cherries. Anyway, but every step that I took towards this thing, it takes one towards me, and that's the way it works. Like, it's not just gonna come to you out the blue. You have to work for it just a little bit.
And to think, if you're out there listening and you think that everybody in life is against you and every other person is bad, that's not true, because just like you say that as you take a step toward it, it takes a step toward you. It's not just the thing, it's also the community around you. So you may take a step toward something and it takes a step toward you, but then you have all these people that are taking 10,000 steps toward you because they love you, right? And that's all you have to do is if you can open up your mind and open up your heart enough to understand that not everybody is out to get you, because that's what they've taught us, that everything is conspiracy in life. And yes, I do believe there are conspiracies and all this other stuff, but I don't believe that every person in their deep in their heart and in their mind is filled with malice, that they want to do evil to someone else. So you know what? We're not going to let people feel that way. All right. If you're going to run in our circles, if you're going to be with us, we're going to be happy people. We're going to love other people. We're going to help other people. So if there's individuals around us that are lacking in certain ways, it's not a time to cut them down, but it is a time to be brutally honest sometimes, just to say, hey, look, I'm here for you, but this is what this is what needs to happen in order to redirect this thing and make it better. So more times than not, I feel like people get lost at sea, not even realizing that, you may feel like you're the captain on the paper boat and nobody else, but you have a crew. You just don't know it yet. So all you have to do is reach out and look up into the right places, and it's there for you.
And you got to know too that whenever you're spending a lot of time with social media, what that's doing too is just letting you see the best part of what these people you're following's lives. And if you're taking that as just what's going on in their life all the time, it's very depressing.
That's right.
That's not a good way to live.
Because even those people are a lot of times only showing you the best. Even with us, like, people don't know the things that go on behind the scenes. We have just as many issues. Tyler and I always say, like, man, if we're having a bad morning before a show, we're going to have a killer show. Just like this morning, we had some things that...
They were wrestling when I got here.
Oh, man. And it wasn't with the dog on the floor in the director's office either.
No, one had the other guy in the headlock. I'm not going to tell you who was winning.
And it was raining.
But we have those moments, and we feel now that the same thing. It's all in how you look at it. We could look at the struggle and say, you know what, man, it's not worth putting the rebellion out anymore. Yes, we're doing some good things, and it's been awesome, and we have the production company, but it's just not worth it because of the struggle. No, we look at it like, you know what, that struggle in front of us means we're doing something right. Nothing comes to you easy in life. You have to work for everything you want and everything you believe in, and for your dreams to come to fruition.
Yeah, like, there's this thing where, so, like, people, call people nerds or whatever, and, or they'll look at somebody who's crafting and say, like, what, this is a grown man, and he's playing with G.I. Joes, and he's playing with toys. What is he doing? Like, grow up, man.
And then you say, I'm making a killer YouTube channel. That's what I'm doing.
I'm making a YouTube video, Mr. Friend, go away. But what's happening here, at least the way I look at it, is that when people are usually fascinated by things that they saw when they were younger. So I think you like Star Wars, and I think you might like Wolverine. Yeah. So, but these things are probably things that you were introduced to when you were very young, right? And so what now, like y'all may have action figures of these two
Absolutely. I got 10,000 Star Wars pops.
Yeah, I very much doubt that you go home and pick up your Star Wars figures and go, pew, pew, I'm shooting you and
No.
you shooting. Yeah,
It's not anymore. Not in like.
Yeah, but that used to happen. But the thing that excites you about it, makes you feel good, is the nostalgic element. Now, what is the nostalgic element? Well, the nostalgic element is how you used to be very cool when you were a kid, and then you grew up and you become less cool.
You're very lame as an adult, yeah.
Yeah, and the people that get very negative in life, like what some of these art things do, or listening, or when people talk about like opening your heart, opening your mind, you're like, what hippie, what are you talking about? It's not really about that. It's about trying to get back to like remembering how it used to be when you'd wake up in the summer and ride your bike to your best friend's house, and you didn't have an agenda. You would just go and play. I would go to Jason's house and we'd just play and we'd make up some games. And the world needs to get back to that. And it's not about being childish. It's about being childlike. And we take ourselves way too serious, and way, men are too masculine and women are too feminine, in my opinion.
And everything in between, instead of just being who we are and just letting it flow.
That's correct. That is correct. And
I'm with you on that, bro.
That's sort of my Tinu philosophy of life.
You can't let that imagination get killed by what people tell you is right and wrong. I mean, that obviously there is right and wrong, but whenever you let that slip away from you, where that imagination, that's what makes an artist move, and not even just artists, just someone who's naturally just in tune with what they're envisioning, or in tune with like basically what they could perceive, is a lot more grounded. When it sounds polar opposite if your head's in the clouds, but whenever you're grounded, you understand that that's an important part of your life, to be able to conceptualize, or just to be able to not just see things for exactly what they're told to you to be.
Yeah, and also like even though like you guys are very adept and experts at like doing audio and writing music, and I've been doing this other stuff for a long time, and if you're out there listening and you haven't done anything creative, which is not true, because ladies and gentlemen, you are doing creative stuff all the time, but we all had to start somewhere, and every little bit helps. And here's a bonus: if you start now, if you give it a good push and change your mind right now, look, I guarantee you that it's gonna give you an extra reward. Like, you're gonna get a big bump up, and then you're gonna have to like work through some stuff, but it's gonna tell you like, hey, you're on the right track. And one thing that I try to do, and I really try to keep this in mind when I'm doing stuff, is that I use this idea of what I call the North Star. So how do you know, Tinu, that what you're doing is right, or that you're on the right path? Well, how do I know? Because it makes me feel good. If I'm doing something that's not right, if you learn to listen, you can feel it. It does not make you feel good in your body. It's a literal feeling that you can feel. And as soon as you align yourself to that North Star, it all goes away. And I hope nobody's out there thinking, oh, well, that's great, Tinu, you got your North Star and then everything's all roses and big on nose. But it's not like that.
That's only the start.
It's like being a tightrope walker.
Right.
You gotta really try to keep yourself
Balance is the key in life, no matter what it is. Too much of anything or not enough of anything is always a bad thing.
Is this the philosophical
I'm
episode?
telling you, bro, we got a little deep on this one. But I tell you what, Tinu, absolutely so excited that you came in and hung out with us today.
That makes one of us.
Well, it's got to be me.
I'm just joking. That's the North Star. See, I didn't feel good after I said that. Okay. No. I'm so happy that you guys invited me.
So glad you came in with us, man. And anytime you want to come back and hang out, and anything you ever need from us, let us know.
Oh yeah, one day maybe I'll come back here and maybe I can convince my daddy if he's not watching a zombie movie.
That'd be awesome. Or getting golf on some oysters.
Clear up that schedule.
I love some oysters.
Me too. That's my favorite. That and soft shell shrimp.
Soft shell shrimp?
Oh yeah, you never had soft shell shrimp?
No.
Oh dude, I get some from a dude out in Lafitte, the guy that sold us the bus. I'll get some and I'll fry them up for you. If you like soft shell crab, it brings it to the next level.
It's insane.
Oh, I've never even heard of it, but
good.
I'll tell you one quick story before we go. So my daddy, we went out to a restaurant, and we it's a nice restaurant. I took him out there, and so he sees crawfish on the menu, and that's all he sees.
Yeah.
But, I was looking
Everything
at
else is a blur.
Yeah, but it's a fancy restaurant, so it's like it's soft shell crawfish, and which you don't hear about very often,
They were fried. Fried up.
I can't remember exactly how they were prepared. They were in like a little
salsa sand.
Yeah, something like that. But so the waitress comes by at some point, and she's like, he's peeling. And and she's like, sir, you don't have to peel me. He's like, oh,
Hey, where I come from, we peel 'em.
anyway, that's not that great of a story.
But we'll hook you up with the soft shell shrimp, man. They're good. They're delicious.
That would be fantastic.
You don't want to eat a whole lot because it is very rich. Yeah. We learned that the hard way. We kind of ate about 4.5 pounds each.
Get a little golf on
What
them.
about that pico on the front? You don't eat that, do you?
That's the only thing you cut off. You cut the little tip, and that's it. You eat the rest because the fat in the head. No, it's delicious. It's delicious.
Well, let me tell you, if a shrimp was like the size of a dinosaur, man, that would be something you'd have to do.
We have that actually. So there's a new religion.
You fry that?
That is we need to. We know it's not in South Louisiana because we would have eaten it already. But they're figuring out that a lobster can grow out of its carapace only up until a certain point, and the reason why a lobster would die is because the carapace gets so hard that it can't molt anymore. So they have this religion that's figuring out that if they build some kind of bionic shell, they can let it keep going into soft shell status, molting out, putting in a bionic shell, growing a society on the back of this thing going out into space, and they call themselves the religion of the Leviathan lobster.
I cannot see how this will not end poorly.
Yeah, but it's going to taste delicious either way. Either way.
Boy, you start messing around with certain things and you just like have to question like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be putting the monkey DNA inside of this giant crab.
We might be too far, like in AI. I mean, you just never know.
Yeah, you never
Shout
know.
out to Off the Deep End.
Yeah.
What's up, Corey?
Thank you, Corey Lytle, for that Leviathan lobster back in the gap. But yeah, man, thank you, T-New.
It was a pleasure, man.
Tell everybody where they can find you, bro. We know you're on YouTube, but tell them how to get to you.
It's just the easiest way to look it up. If you want to look me up on YouTube, is just Cajun Craftastrophe. Just type that in. It's gonna find it. I'm Cajun_Craftastrophe on Instagram, and yeah, those are really the only two platforms that I'm focusing on at the moment because man, it's a lot.
That's enough, yeah. We know that feeling.
It's a lot, but
that's all you need, bro.
Thank
yeah,
you
man.
so much, guys.
Thank you, bud.
This is Magwire from the Dank Swamp Rebellion podcast, reminding you to stock up on your Elmer's CheeWees. Get you some of that. I'll tell you, the original's good now. The original's real good. I like me the barbecue one. I like the taco one. Bruh, I dip that in some ranch meat. They got the hot and spicy. They got the pizza. The pizza one's real good, man. And so is the green onion. And if you like a little something sweet after, get you some of that caramel popcorn. They ain't sleeping on that caramel popcorn. And remember, if it ain't Elmer, it ain't CheeWees.
Elmer's Quality Snacks since 1946.
Oh, and don't forget about those seasonal flavors. This message was approved by Magwire.
Thanks for listening to DSR. Go check out T-New on YouTube. The Cajun Craftastrophe and CraftPod 13. As always, links are in the description. Stay tuned for Wednesday, cause it might get heavy with wasted creation.